Hello, we are going to discuss the important interview question and answer of the workflow. Let's go and start with the workflow interview question and answer part 1. Very first question can be, what is workflow or define workflow? So answer for this is the same as we have discussed in our workflow class, that to send the right work to the right person at the right time in the right sequence with the right information efficiently. Or you can also define the workflow that it is an automation for managing repetitive processing and tasks which occur in a particular order. So workflow is nothing but it's an automation of a repetitive task. If this much you can tell, it will be sufficient. In the workflow, you will be having the agent who will be receiving the work item and taking the action on the work item. Next question. Give one example of a workflow. So one good example of a workflow can be with the PO release strategy. Once the PO is created, it goes for the first level approval based upon the amount. It decides the actor, it decides the agent. Once the first agent approves the workflow, then it goes to the second level manager if it requires. And once the second level manager takes the action on the work item and approves the PO, then it goes to the third level and so on. So it depends how one defines the workflow and how many levels of approval steps are there. Accordingly, it will go there and it gets approved. And once the final level approver approves the workflow complete, PO gets approved and the complete PO gets released and your PO becomes active. So this one example you can tell, very simple example. Another question, what is disadvantages of the manual workflow? So in earlier days, you know, we were having the manual workflow like in the offices and all, when the SAP ERP was not there, or when the current technology was not there in the picture, used to have the manual workflow. So the same thing you can think about the manual workflow over here, that mail is sent for the PO to approve to this manager. Again, once he approves, then C against the PO creator again sends the email to the second level approver. Once again he receives the mail, he send the approval email to this creator, and again she sends to the third level approver, the highest boss in for the PO approval process. And once he finally approves, then she receives back. So this is a kind of manual work process. The same we can automate with the help of SAP workflow. Okay. So what is the disadvantages of manual workflow? So if it is a manual, obviously it's going to have the lack of transparency. Email cannot be accessed by everyone. Only the people who have put in the CC, those can go and check it out. Second problem is that it can be here, like she has sent the email for approval to this manager and he's out of office. Then in that case, email will be waiting for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, don't know how many days. you know, and that creates the problem. So long waiting times, we can say, just to make it clear. And the third point, like if the email is going to be sit there for longer duration, there is no such deadline monitoring stuff. That means if you want to define after 1 day of waiting for the approval, it should get automatically approved. No such action will be able to take in the manual workflow. That will be possible in the SAP workflow. So all these disadvantages, you know, can be the advantage, not can be, really is the advantage of the SAP workflow. Okay. So here you can see the third point, lack of deadline monitoring, which we have just explained. After waiting for a certain period of time, it should automatically go for the next step, or the way you want to design it, it should take the action. Another question, what is SAP Business Workplace? So it's nothing but, you know, the place where you will be able to see the messages, you will be able to see the work items, you will be able to see the documents. That is known as the SAP Business Workplace. Can you write the T code for the SAP Business Workplace? Just type here in the comment box. The T code for the SAP Business Workplace is nothing but SBWP. Okay. SAP Business Workplace. See, B business, W work, P place, S SAP. So like that you can remember SAP Business Workplace. Another important question. In fact, this can be your VVI question in this workflow question and answer category. What is task and work items? See, workflow consists of several steps. That step can be of type single step task or multiple step task. So the instance of the task is known as the work items. Okay. So task is nothing but it defines the elementary business activity. For example, in this PO related workflow, right? This is one task. Approval is one task. First level approval, second level approval, third level approval. So if you have defined this task in the separate steps, okay, and for all these, so these can be done in the loop also with the help of single task. That is also possible because all these are approval related stuff. Or if you want to define a separate step, separate task for each approval, that is also possible. So we have seen, for example, let's go into the system quickly. So here you can go to SWDD transaction. Right? And if you check it over here for this particular workflow, you can see that this is one step, and this step is having this particular task. Okay, so 8267 is the task. 8267 is the task which is for the user decision. Okay, this is the standard task which we use for the user decision purpose. And again, like you can see that another task. So This is another task. Withdrawal of material, complete workflow, right? Revise the material. So these are the different tasks involved in the workflow. Fine. Now, work item. Work item is nothing but runtime instance. It's like the object of class. Object is the runtime instance of the class, right? So similarly, work items is the runtime instance of the task. Now, what is the T code to create the task? You can type here in the comment section. Answer is PFTC. There you can go and create the task. Okay. So in the PFTC transaction, not only you can create the task, but you can create the workflow also. You know, see, you have the different option: customer task, task group, standard task, workflow template. All these you can create or display or change under the PFTC transaction. So one single PFTC transaction, if you remember, you will be able to do the several stuffs. So PFTC is very, very important transaction. Now, what are the different types of task? So task can be divided into two category. One is single step task and another is the multiple step task. Single step task is like a normal task, which will be having just a single steps. So which can be achieved with the help of object, you know, which can be achieved of the method of a class, right? So for example, if you come here in this system and, you know, so the workflow which we have just seen, that consists of the several steps. So the steps, this is one another workflow. Let me open this. Here you can see that we have the several steps in this workflow. So this particular step is having, this will be known as the single step task. Whichever starting with the TS, this will be your single step task. Whichever is starting with the WS is nothing but your workflow. So workflow is also a task only, but this is the multiple steps task. Okay. So this workflow consists of multiple steps. So this will be known as multiple step task. So that's why single step task is nothing but the normal task, and the multiple step task is known as the workflow. Single step task, it will be starting with TS, and the workflow, it will be starting with the WS. Okay. So this is what. Now let's go and see what are the different attributes of a task. So we have seen many times, the task can have the different types of attributes. For example, if you come to this task and if you want to see the attribute of this, agent assignment, background processing, task complete, confirm end of processing, right? So these are the different attributes. Whether you have, task properties, you can see that where the task has been assigned with some agent or not, whether the task is complete or not, right? Whether it is the background task or dialogue processing task, this confirm end of processing, whether you have to confirm at the end of processing when you are taking action on some work item. So that particular property. So this is what we have written. What are the different attributes of a task? This is the agent actually, different attributes of agent which we have mentioned. The question, let's write the question. different attributes of task. So for different attribute of task, I will just take the screenshot of this and I will put it over here. So, agent assignment, background processing, dialog task complete, or confirm end of processing. So these are the different attributes of the task. You can see the task properties. Now, what are different attributes of a agent, right? Agent, first let's go and define the agent. What is agent? Agent is nothing but the one who takes the action on the work item. Agent receives the work item. He's in SAP business workplace, so he can go and check the work item using SBWP transaction, and once he'll be having some work item, he can take the action. So the you know if here you can see that in the task property one you have this one, right? So general decision task, then if you come to this attribute, right, general task, general forwarding allowed, general forwarding not allowed, forwarding not allowed. So this also we can say that these are the attribute of task but with respect to agent. So I will quickly correct this answer question. What are the different attributes of task with respect to agent? With respect to agent. Now this question is correct. So the task attributes can be defined with respect to agent. So you can see the general task. So if you can mark a task as a general task, then the all people in the organization will receive the work item of that particular task. Okay, that is the meaning of general task. So this is very dangerous property, you know you should remember, and very important property as well, dangerous as well as important. So when you release your transport request from development to quality, what happens generally that you know this task property which you have at this moment, it is generally go and be there as a general forwarding allowed. So if the task property general forwarding allowed will be there, that means some selected people, the people which you have over here, some selected people only will be able to take the action, on the work item, not everyone. So in that case, the responsible agent means the agent which you have determined over here. So if this here we are using the rule, PFSC rule. So if this rule is not determining any one of these agents, then it will not be able to find out any common agent, and in that case it will not return any you know agent. So in that case, though in development when you were testing you have put as a general task, but in quality when you will move your transport request, it will be go there as a general forwarding allowed. So you have to go manually in the quality system, and there you have to mark to this general task from general forwarding allowed, and then it will start working. Why? Because you have chosen the general task, and if general task is there, everyone in your organization will be possible agents. Okay, so whatever this rule and all is determining the agent, obviously that is going to be common. Okay, if you have the general task and if no agents are returned, in that case everyone in the organization will receive the work item. Okay, so make sure under the agent you define some agent either with the help of rule or with the help of user or position. Make sure you don't give blank. If you give blank, everyone will receive the work item. So make sure you have something chosen over here. Now this is fine. Only the initiator will receive the work item, not everyone. Okay. So one property mark as a general task. If you want, anyone can be the possible agent. And here you choose the responsible agent. Here, whatever agent you define, this is known as the responsible agent. So choose this as a responsible agent so that the common between possible and responsible is known as the actual agent. Actual agent will receive the work item. Okay. So this is very, very important. So hope you are getting the point. So general task is dangerous as well as very important as well. So just you will have to make sure that you are defining some agent over there, either with the help of expression or with the help of work center rule. Only the thing, don't keep it blank. Don't keep it blank. If you have chosen the attribute as a general attribute. Okay, fine. Hope it's clear. Now let's go and come here. General task forwarding allowed, right? In this case, you can see that the work item can be forwarded to any user by the recipient of the work item. So whatever the recipient you have defined, you know, those are going, those will be able to forward. That's the meaning of general task. General task forwarding not allowed by the recipient, it will not be able to forward. Forwarding not allowed, it cannot be forward to any of the user. Okay, fine. So now what is the difference between messages and work items? So messages is nothing but, see, if you go to the SBWP transaction, SOSBWP transaction, here you have the inbox. In the inbox, you have the documents, right? So these documents are nothing but message. Okay, these documents are nothing but message. You can see that this is the message. This is the message. Okay, and in the workflow, see, so if you click on this workflow 126, these are your work items. Work items is now grouped based upon, grouped according to task, grouped according to content. So these work items you can see group wise, you know. So for approval, if you want to see, for decision on SD billing block, if you want to see, for revised material, you can see, right? So if you want to see group wise, you can check out each group over here. Okay, each group. Here you will get the message related with the deadline, no overdue entries. If a work item has missed it deadline, then you will be able to see it over here, right? Deadline message. If you have, you know, defined the message for the deadline, you will be able to see under the deadline message. So basically, what are the option you have? You have the inbox, you have the outbox, right? You have, see what are the workflow you have started, all those things, right? Work items executed by me. So all these information, which work item you have resubmitted, which, right? So basically you have two folders. One is documents and another is the workflow. The documents is your message. Once you read the message, your message will be still present over there. You can see that my messages are still present over there. Even if you refresh it, it will be there. It's not like document 17, right? Just I'm reading it here and go back and refresh this. Still, this is 17. But if you go to the workflow, under the workflow folder, you have the work item. So if you take the action on the work item and if you go back, see, from 126, it will be 125. Okay. So already it has, it is, so again, just, so for that particular work item, so from 126, 125, it has happened. So keep on taking the action on the work item. Once the action, complete action is taken on the work item, see, it's getting decreased. Send material for approval, right? So see, just, so one work item is having the 3 action to be taken on that, and see, so it keeps on decreasing. Okay, so 3 level of approval, v- 3 level of approval steps are there for that particular steps, and that's why, it's keeps on going, and the work item is coming, right? So in the jet parallel, you can see that. Just to go back, and once again, if you go back, it will, and just refresh, see, it's, so the thing is that when you have the work item, once you take the action on the work item will be going from the inbox. It will not present over there in the inbox. But in case of message, if you go and check it out, sees that you will not be able to, you know means messages will not disappear after viewing them, after taking the action on them. In fact, there is no action apart from viewing, right? You will be able to only view the message. So, or even some link or something like that is there, if you take the action on that link and all, even the messages are going to be there. So the thing is that messages will present permanently in the inbox, but for work items it will not present permanently in the inbox if you take the action on the work item. So that is the important difference. Okay, one more difference you can see like that, once you take the action on the work item, automatically next step of the workflow will be executed. But in case of messages, no such activity, no automatic next step execution. What is agent? We have seen agent. This is one important question you should know. Okay, very, very important question. Very, very important question from the workflow point of view. One who receives the work item, okay, is known as agent. Another important question, what are the different types of agent? Okay, so you can see that possible agents, responsible agents, actual agents, and excluded agents. So let's quickly go into the system and let me show you. So here you have the agents. So whatever you define over here, this is known as the responsible agent. Okay, now you have the task attribute. Whatever you define over here, this is known as, you know possible agents. Okay, so two, you understood possible, this is possible. Another is what you mention over here is responsible. Then actual, so the intersection of possible agents and actual agents, possible or responsible agent is known as actual agent. Okay, intersection of possible agents and responsible agents, so whoever will be common, those will be known as actual agents. That means actual agents only can receive the work item. Okay, that's why I was telling, when you define as a general task, everyone in your organization becomes possible agents. That's why it is mandatory to define the responsible agent, so that you will be having only few people as a actual agents. Okay, because everyone is the possible agents, right? So just to define responsible agent, so only the responsible agent will be able to receive the work item. Now another is the excluded agent. So if you mention over here someone, those will not receive the work item, even though they are common, right, between the possible and responsible. But if you mention someone's name in excluded, and even though uh, he is common, he will not be able to receive because you have marked as a excluded agent. So this is the meaning of different types of agent. Hope it's clear. What is the T code to check workflow configuration? This is another question. Okay, so SWU3, we have gone and check it out. SWU3 is the T code where you can go and check the workflow customization. Just type SWU3 in the comment section where you can go and check out in the, you know, uh, customization of the workflow. Fine. Now, see, now let's stop this session here itself. Okay.